Hello there, everybody. Thank you for joining us at Sandman Fly Fishing. Today we're going to be doing our first video of a series that I'm going to make for beginners. Today we're going to be tying a Lefty's Deceiver. This is a very popular fly that a lot of anglers have and use, and that I've been tying for a long time now. You'll see a lot of variations of this fly in different colors and patterns and materials used and sizes. But it was originally made by Lefty Cray for the Chesapeake Bay rockfish, or stripers as we know them up here in New England. Like I said, this is going to be our first fly in a series of flies that can be easily tied by beginners, so this is going to be a good fly to learn on. I'm going to try and show you some tips and tricks that I use to make this fly, but most of the flies that I'm going to add to this playlist are going to be very basic, and they're only going to use a small amount of materials that every fly tyer should have, and that are pretty easy to obtain. As you saw earlier, we started with some thread wraps that gave the materials a base so that they do not twist and turn on the hook as you add them. From there, the first material that we're going to add is going to be a small amount of nice bucktail. It'll give the saddle hackle feathers somewhat of a platform to be secured to. It's also going to push them away from the hook so you don't have too many foul ups. This bucktail should be about twice the length of the hook shank. Next, we're going to add a little Krystal flash. I really like this material as it gives the fly a little something to reflect the sunlight while it's being fished. You'll only need about 3 or 4 of these as we're going to double them up here. They should extend just beyond those bucktails we added earlier. From here, we're going to be adding 2 Nature Spirit Premium Saddle Hackles. These can be found in most fly tying websites and shops. When we do pick out our saddle hackles, we want to pick out 2 that are very similar, paying attention not only to their length but also to their width. I like to add these to the top of the hook, as I think they end up sitting better once they are tied down and the rest of the materials are applied to the fly. Now we are just making sure that these saddle hackles are secured, while making sure that those smaller feathers on the hackles are pointed to the rear. Next, we're going to be adding some body braid to the fly. This is Krystal body braid that has a nice shine to it. I'll be using the vise to secure it around the hook as I own a rotating vise. However, if your vise does not rotate, this is easily applied by wrapping around the shank of the hook. Sometimes I add a little thin UV resin to the body braid to give it a little more shine and add some durability. You won't see me do that here, but I do recommend it. After the body braid, we'll be adding our first patch of bucktail to the head of the fly. This is again about a pencil like the bucktail, but the important thing to notice here is making sure that the bucktail here has a decent length to it. You do not want to add a short bucktail here. Next, we'll be adding bucktail to the bottom of the hook. For this bucktail, it'll be alright to use some of the shorter bucktails that you have, as this is mostly to make sure that the hook is hidden and to give the fly a little bit more body. For all the bucktail added to the front of the hook, it is important to make sure that we are not covering the eye of the hook, as you will see that I am cutting the ends of the bucktail to make sure that it is clear. We will then return to the top where we are at our second set of bucktail. This will be a good time to add another color to this fly if you wanted. I would usually add a darker color just to give it that white underbelly look. We want to make sure that this bucktail is secured and making sure that our thread wraps do not slip off the bucktail. This can happen pretty easily, and if you ever had this happen to you, it can be pretty frustrating. Next, we're going to be adding some peacock herl to the top to give it that dark top that all baitfish have. These are red dyed peacock herl, about half a dozen will do. And lastly, we'll be finishing off with about 4 to 5 whip finishes. While you do not have to add eyes to this fly, I definitely think that it adds a little something to it. We'll be adding some 8mm 3D eyes to each side of the fly. This will be secured using super glue and some UV resin. First, we will add some thick UV resin to fill the space between the eyes, and we'll finish it off with some thin. Making sure that the resin is applied over the eyes will help with the color. If you do not have UV resin, this is definitely something that you should purchase, as well as be using on most of your flies to finish them off. And from here, our fly is pretty much finished. It is again a very popular fly that almost all anglers have in their fly boxes. It's very versatile and can be used year-round for a number of different species. Again, it can be tied in various colors and materials to make it match the baitfish that you're trying to imitate. I really appreciate you clicking on this video and staying to watch it. I hope you learned something, and if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Leave a comment below if you end up tying this fly. And make sure you stay tuned for more beginner fly tying tutorials. Thank you for joining us today at Sandman Fly Fishing. I hope you liked this video and go out and catch some fish.